Today we're looking at Lucina, Future Witness. To be honest, when I did Marth Enigmatic Blade, I was actually surprised that that video got like 1,000 views. When I realized this, I knew that I can't talk about Marth the Enigmatic Blade, son of a bitch, without talking about Lucina, because they're the same... Spoiler alert, they're the same goddamn person. Anyway, I'm going to show you how I have my Lucina, and I'm going to look at other skills that I experimented with giving her, give you some thoughts and opinions, and then we're going to finally reveal what build I gave Marth, the Enigmatic Blade. Fuck. Anyway, to start off with, my Lucina happens to be a HP Bane Speed Boon IV. Therefore, her HP's base value is 40 instead of the normal 43. I don't know, I think her normal speed is what, 38? Oh wait, no. It's something different because I got Fury here, and that throws off these numbers right here. But the important part is the exact number of HP, because Ardent Sacrifice heals an adjacent ally for 10 HP. Therefore, the unit loses 10 HP, which puts Lucina at 30. Exactly 75% of her HP, which coincides with Desperation. So right from the get-go, you can pretty much just activate her Desperation. She will double things immediately and not take any counterattack damage. Now, for budget purposes, I just left Lucina with her essentially default Luna. She can learn Aether, but cheap cooldowns are essentially meta right now, because for the most part, before any character can get 5 cooldown, they're either almost dead already, or the game is over. So essentially, cheaper cooldowns are better to use. Essentially, not always, but just very generally. It's like Moonbow is probably one of the best specials out there, but I don't exactly have a million Palas to pass around like a cheap slut at a party, right? Anyway, her Falchion will heal her. To keep her in Desperation mode, I've got Fury here, and I know it's not Fury 3, because at the time I didn't have any Hinatas, so I had to make do with a Bartra, or whatever. Essentially, I couldn't give her the full tree, and then by the time I had the ability to give her a full tree, I got Ike, so I didn't use Lucina as my primary sword user anymore. So, that's why I don't have Fury 3. I could do it now, because I do have a 3-star Hinata. I could use some resources to get the full Fury tree, but I don't think I want to do that yet. I could give Fury to some other character in the future. Anyway, like I said, I touched on Desperation. With Fury, because Lucina is generally a player phase character anyway, which means she's better suited to be used during the player phase, as opposed to the enemy phase, where she's very bad because she's not good at tanking hits. She's okay because of Fury, but also because of Fury, she wears out very quickly. It's not like she's gonna crumple under pressure, but you also don't want to put her in that situation in the first place. Her strengths line her attack and speed, and you want to utilize her as such. And then Spur, I believe she came with Spur, so I just left it. Also another budget thing. If this can be utilized just like any other, adjacent skill. I'm sure you've used Spur before. If by some miracle something survives Lucina's Desperation attack, you can have a mage or a bow user come up from behind and support and get the spur bonus and finish off the character that you weren't able to kill. So this is my current build on Lucina, and we're just gonna go back and take a look at what other skills I gave her and experimented with. Or rather, it would probably be easier if I did it that way. That way I can see everything I gave her. So for the longest time, she had swap. And if you don't know what support skill to give one of your characters, you can never go wrong with a movement ability. They are very good, and honestly, you could put a movement ability in every single character and be perfectly fine, I think. They're very, very useful. You can utilize them in any situation, really, which is why they're good. But sometimes characters call for other abilities, like maybe drawback, which is another movement ability. Ardent Sacrifice is kind of a niche ability, and Lucina can fulfill this niche. It's got a primary and a secondary effect, which you want to get the most out of your abilities, which is why you put certain ones together. Because this one synergizes really well with both the HP and the Desperation skill, then everything just kind of flows together better. So instead of like having Lucina take, I don't know, 23 damage from a very powerful enemy, you could instead have her give 10 HP to somebody else who also needs it, essentially not wasting any by having some taken away from an attack, and then just have her immediately double somebody and murder them right off the bat. So I gave her the full skill tree. Getting Aether took forever. I gave her Darting Blow for a bit, and then I realized I shouldn't have done that. It's redundant. She's also really fast. I don't really need Darting Blow for any other reason other than to kill other Lucinas or other super quick characters, but there aren't that many. Defiant Speed. This was Lucina's default ability. Desperation. I gave her Quick Riposte when I first started the game because I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know exactly what Quick Riposte did. Once I figured the difference between these two, then I realized, oh, Lucina's much better with Desperation. Definitely not Quick Riposte, because a Quick Riposte is an enemy phase skill. It is utilized when you're attacked. Desperation is a player phase skill, utilized when you attack. And Lucina's very offensive. Not in a bad way. And then Spur, because I didn't really change it. I didn't feel like it was worth the resources to change that to anything else. So that's it for Lucina. I think she's a very strong character, very high tier, very easy to utilize, and just all around a very good character. Her downfalls pretty much include the fact that she is very bad in the enemy phase and can be taken out without you realizing it or even planning for it. Sometimes you'll get caught off guard really badly if you can't get Lucina out of danger. She synergizes well with support units that increase her tankiness, with like Spur defense, Fortify defense, or, you know, Mist with the Spur defense and res. So this way when you use her in the player phase and she's left in the danger zone, she can better survive the enemy phase, allowing you to utilize her at least one more time. Another good synergy unit is, of course, Dancers. Being a player phase unit, you can move her, attack, murder something right off the bat, have a Dancer come up behind, move her, so that way she can, you know, do it again. And then another thing she synergizes really well with is Reposition. Send her in, attack, kill something, have a tank like Ike. I use Ike all the time with Reposition. Have him reposition Lucina behind him, essentially removing her from the front lines, putting her immediately in the back, and having this character tank during enemy phase. Enemy phase units are very good to use reposition with. So now that we're done talking about Lucina, let's look at her counterpart, Marth. I should really do that. Okay. So to finish off the episode, as you can see here, let me just explain what I have currently, and then I'll explain what I experimented with. Marth, the Enigmatic Blade, has neutral IVs. There's no boons, no banes. So that kind of makes it easy to play with. The neutral HP is actually 43. But as you can see, I got 50 right here. And that's because I gave her HP and HP. Now the reason for this is so that way she can use reciprocal aid on just about every single character in the game and fully heal them. Or at least get damn close to it. The reason why I wanted it at least 50 was so that way when she gets healing from both Falchion and Renewal, she will get the most out of all of her healing that I've given her, including this ability right here. And now, I haven't been able to grind the insane amount of SP required to make Marth good at all because she has no default abilities, or skills rather, which requires an insane amount of SP because of that, because the costs get scaled higher because they're not hers, which really sucks. God damn it. Anyway, most of these skills are lower tier, just because I also lack the resources of heroes to give to her in the first place. But I think this unique build that I have her with could find some use. So she's not useless like maybe my healers, or maybe my other sword users that I haven't quite figured out how to utilize properly, other than their base kits, like maybe Carol. I know how he's supposed to be used, but it's pretty difficult to like find that particular niche and then exploit it. But that's a different topic. So I've got these HP buffs to get her up to 50, which is a nice flat number, and you make the most out of your healing from the Falchion and Renewal. I've got Fortify Defense with her because I'm going to be using her as a player phase character that hides out in the back lines and then rushes forward when you need it. Essentially, she'll be more of a hit and run character, and I will be utilizing her with a reposition unit. This way she can get in there and then get back out because her defensive values won't be able to protect this gigantic HP pool that I gave her in the first place. Normally, I prefer higher defense and resistance as opposed to HP, because I think prevention is better than cure. But in this particular case, my prevention is a different method other than raising these values. You can see daylight. The skill after that is going to be noontime because it's lower cooldown and I can make use of it more often, which is important because Marth could lose a lot of her HP all at once if you're not careful. I gave Marth Swap just because I used it so long on Lucina. I figured I was going to use Swap again. I ended up not using it. I figured I'd use Drawback, you know, essentially following the niche of the backline support character. But I ended up not using that. I did it in favor of more of a healer-based character. Daylight Noontime. Since she generally can kill most characters without needing an ability to help her out, well, a special to help her out, I figured that I would instead increase her sustainability and staying power on the map, as opposed to increasing her killing power. since she can generally already kill things the way it is. If you're putting her against like a lance user or something she's not good at in the first place, you wouldn't kill them with a special 9 times out of 10 anyway. That, and I don't exactly have all the Lunas and Moonbows to pass around to everybody anyway. And then, I tried a lot of things for the Alpha one. I tried Armored Blow, because like I said, she's going to be a player phase character, and I don't plan on leaving her in the danger area. So I figured Armored Blow would keep her sustainability and leave her where I need her to be. And then I eventually settled on the HP. The Bravo ability was pretty easy. I actually started out with Swordbreaker, but realized that since she is fast and powerful enough the way it is, she was doubling the sword users in the first place, thereby rendering my skill inert. So I settled on Renewal. And then, you know, Fortify. So that's it for today's Hero Spotlight. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know how you built your Lucina or Marth.